Day one is a lot of confusion. You don't know what to expect. You know that you're showing up and you're going to be embarking on a training process that's going to be intense, and it's going to be unlike anything that you've gone through before.
It's a Mazda. Wake up, ma'am. Park it.
I knew what to expect from boot camp, so I knew it was going to be a lot of running around, a lot of craziness. A lot of people weren't going to know what was going on.
Carry all of your belongings and get them off my deck. Pick that thing up. You have to hold it up to the side. It's not too limited. Hold it up for freedom, torture the husband. Then you do that. Pick it up.
Very similar to the military, and the discipline and the yelling and hollering was going to be probably equal to that I experienced, but I understood that it was for a purpose.
Start tightening the line up. Move forward. Tighten it up.
I think the goal is to try to disorient you and get you out of your comfort zone, and see how you react under pressure. So some people crumbled, and you know, most of everyone, they got it right.
McNeemer. Meadows. Ramos.
You're living with a lot of people, which you may not be used to doing that, living with a large group of people. Everything is on a tight schedule, and they're trying to conform you to that schedule. So it's a little bit difficult to adjust.
All you gotta do is follow the person in front of you. Go forward. Follow me.
You can't choose the environment you're going to have to react to. You have to just be able to react to any kind of environment, and I think a lot of people here had some trouble with that at first.
Just drop your gear and come back in line. That's all you gotta do. Do you remember what your bag looked like? It's your bag!
Yes, sir, that's it, sir.
It was a shock to a lot of people, I'm sure.
Well, hurry up! What are you waiting for? Sir, wouldn't it be easier just to hold the handles and start moving?
Yes,
Sir, what are you doing? What on earth are you doing? Just hold the handle. Pick the other bag up. You have two hands. Very good, sir.
Thank you, sir.
First task complete.
You know, we formed up really fast. We grabbed all our gear. People were dropping stuff everywhere. It was kind of a mess, but we got it all together, and you know, we got where we needed to go.
Sir, your tie's atrocious. Who ties that for you, sir?
Are you kidding?
Why are you taking the whole bag? I said 2 leggings! Not an entire bag! Take this, go right in the right, end up in the front. Come
on, let's go, let's go.
One raise. Put your hat in your front child's move. Like I just told you. Get in there!
Pull your chair out, stand in front of it!
So you don't have a lot of time to eat. They're screaming at you the whole time. They're yelling at you. They're making that uncomfortable environment. And you may not realize it at first, but as time goes on, what you begin to realize towards the end of the class is that they're trying to create a stressful environment, and to see, can you continue to do your job in that environment? Can you stick with the procedures that they've showed you to perform while they're creating that stress? So eventually you get to understand it, but at first it's very uncomfortable.
What's the next command? Forward, march! Forward, go! I don't care when you leave, just do it! Sir, get out! Hurry up over there!
If there's a code in the jail, you literally got to drop everything, what you're doing, where it doesn't matter what you're eating, you literally got to drop it and run to the code.
Your superior supervisor is not going to say, hey, can you please go over there and help your fellow officer out? He's going to say, you know, he's going to start yelling at you. He's going to say, hey, you got to get over there. And that's why they do that. That's the purpose of it.
Raise the heel of your left foot. Pivot 90 degrees to the right. I know. Right.
When you're marching together, you're all basically doing something at the same time. You all have to be on the same page. You all train to do it every morning, twice every morning. So it's something that you kind of take pride in when you do it.
Power ring! Right, wrist! Hey! All right, left foot moves out, no more than shoulders apart. Right hand over left hand. Hands are above your waist, small of your back.
It's teaching you how to have mental discipline, how to focus on doing what you have to do, to pay attention, to not anticipate things, and to be able to react to what they're telling you to do at the time.
5 numbers. 5. 3. Right. 2.
To me, drill and ceremony is all about discipline. You have to pay a lot of attention. It's very small movements you're doing, and if everyone's doing the same movement and one person's off, you stick out like a sore thumb. So you have to be disciplined, you have to know what you're doing, you have to listen, and you all have to be in unison. And it's one of the better team building exercises you can do, because you can't march without everyone else. I came in expecting it to be hard, but it was a lot harder than I thought. That's the majority of the job, right? Is being ready. Not necessarily always getting physical every day, but always being prepared to get physical. You know, you have to have all the aspects of fitness. You got to be strong. Yeah, you know, you have to be. You have to have the endurance to go until, you know, help arrives.
PT was a little bit more difficult because I felt as though the squat, thrust, and 8-count bodybuilder was like we didn't do those in boot camp in the Marines. So yeah, it is not fun for the taller individuals like myself and all the other guys.
It is all calisthenics, but at the same time, when you do them over and over again, and you know the reps just keep going, and you have no idea how long it's going to be, it wears you out, and eventually, you know, it comes to a point where you just can't do anymore.
The instructors during your processing tell you ahead of time to be prepared, to get prepared, and a little bit of what to expect. But once they start the program, I mean, it's really no joke. It's very physically demanding. You're doing something every day.
I think when I first got here, I was physically prepared, but I was not expecting it to be as intense as it was. I always compared it to a military kind of environment, and that's precisely what I got.
Challenging. I thought that I came in prepared well enough to complete it. Maybe not at the top end of the group, maybe not at the bottom end of the group, but I felt confident I would be able to complete it. And it was quite a bit more challenging than I had expected, and I was impressed with the program.
Today we will present the guidons for Class 242. A guidon is a small flag used to identify a military or paramilitary unit. The guidon acted as a rallying point for troops and to mark the location of the unit commander. It was carried by the guidon bearer, who was always at the side of the unit commander. The guidon was also used to signal the unit which way to deploy and/or maneuver during battle. Due to the chaos and noise on the battlefield, troops could not hear shouted commands, but they could always see their guidon and would know their commander's intentions. Tradition held that if the guidon bearer was wounded or killed, the next man would pick up the guidon and assume that role. The guidon could never be lost or fall into enemy hands. As long as the troops could still see their guidon out front, they knew that their unit, its honor, and esprit de corps were still intact. The guidon symbolizes leadership, respect, and honor, carried with pride and dignity.
Present! Guidon!
Oh, oh, oh! Your instructors!
Sir, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Carry out the plan of the day.
Aye, sir. Yes, sir.
Range week is pretty intimidating, knowing that it's coming up, because you know that potentially all your hard work is riding on it, because it's mandatory that you complete the range in order to complete the academy.
Get down! Get down! Get down! Get your hands up!
Standard shooting, being in there and just in a regular shooting stance and shooting a paper target is one thing.
Covert speed.
But then when you add obstacles, you have movements, you add reloading, kneeling, standing, all your shooting positions. Doing that and maintaining the proper technique with grip and control and breathing, it adds a totally different element to shooting.
We want good fundamentals, we want good hits. Good hits, good down the front.
Well, what we're trying to do is we're trying to give the trainees a little bit of a taste of reality. I mean, we do everything so regimented as far as shooting on a still target, where in reality, if they get into a situation, targets are going to be moving, they're going to be moving, and we want to give them just a little bit so they understand that in a real life situation, you know, it's completely different than qualification.
You're listening to coverage from our CBS Miami affiliate WFOR as we continue watching this situation at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, what the officials have described as a mass casualty incident, a shooting at that school as students continue to file out and some, in some cases, remain huddled inside classrooms.
I thought it was horrible. I feel like nobody should be put in that kind of situation where one of their own fellow students or peers just do something like that. It's terrible.
You have the option to go across or take the hook, whatever you do. But you're going to do the opposite of what he does. All right? And then the third person come in, you're covering the center. You're the hall boss, you're covering the rear. All right? Once you feel the squeeze, you go.
It's just out the blue things that just happen, so you need to be prepared for anything that just comes, you know, because God forbid that's my kid or somebody I know, you know, in that school. I'm going in there.
It's great to be able to learn how to perform during a situation like that, and the fact that they teach us here how to do that and they give us classes on it is just beneficial while on duty and off duty.
There might be bad guys, there might be civilians, so you don't know who's who. So what did I tell you earlier? Verbal commands. Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. So if they're running at you screaming for help, obviously they see you in a uniform, they want to come for help. If they're running at you, what are you going to do? You have to protect your weapon. So if I'm coming running at you, you're going to block me. Get out of the way, let me see your hands, let me see your hands. You're not going to let them hold, grab you. So I want to hear verbal commands inside. Continue to move. Open on right. No! Hey! What does he look like? What does he look like? Gunfire! That's gunfire!
I think it's good for everybody to have some type of knowledge, but us as being law enforcement, I think it's critical that we have some type of formal training where we're doing hands-on applications as far as active shooter is concerned. I think especially in light of recent events in the society that we live in today, it's something that's more and more prevalent. We have to be more aware of, and I thought that the training was very useful. Some things that opened my eyes as far as what the procedures would be.
Left, right. Left, right. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Wait, where we coming through? Wait, we coming through? I love how to know. I love.
So Family Day was a good opportunity for your family to come see not only what you're going through, but also for you to see them in a situation where they could be proud of you, that you're at the academy and you're fulfilling this goal that you have.
Family support in this profession is very important. You're going to be dealing with very stressful and intense situations, and if you have the support of your family, your loved ones, that just makes life easier. Everyone needs someone that they need to be able to talk to and discuss their situations at the end of the day with.
What you got? That's it? Now I want baby pay me.
I pay you not, you didn't win.
I did win. We had a bet, man. You gotta pay me.
What are you talking
Yo, pay me, man.
I pay you not.
Nah, we not done.
How you knew? We didn't listen to all that.
Stop resisting. I'm not going. Bombs up. Get off of me. I'm not resisting. Stop resisting. Give me your arm. Bombs up. Stop resisting. Let's go. Get off of me. I'm not going. Get up. Get him off. Get him off the tier. Get him out of here. Get the bad guys out of here.
Your family, I think, is something that's very critical as far as getting you through this process. It's a difficult process, it's a challenging process, it's foreign to the majority of the trainees to go through something like this. So I think having their family there when they're not at the academy and relying on them and leaning on them for support is very critical, not only throughout the academy, but also once we get to the job. I mean, and that's the reason why we're all here, is to get a career where we can not only help the public, but also to, you know, secure a future for our families.
You know where the inmate is at. You know when you should start your approach. Understood? All right, so now we're going to simulate having the gate open. As soon as the gate is open, because the inmate is within striking distance, you're going to start your approach. Understood? Week 13, she'll be able to run 20 feet, right? We're all in agreement, correct? Close in. If he gets past the first one, second man take charge. Third, so forth. Understand me? Lower your center of gravity. Inmate said, put your ass to the gate. Inmate is not responsive, therefore he's not compliant.
It's a very intense and stressful situation, knowing that you're going to be dealing with someone who is just not abiding by the rules, and their purpose at that moment is just to give you a hard time. And to go into that cell knowing that you're going to be getting into a fight with them is, I think that you need to be mentally strong, and they prepared us here for that.
When my hand hits the back of this mat, gate is open, cell extraction is locked. Right, drop the shield. Pull his legs out. Pull his legs out. Pull his legs out. Get him on the ground. Pull his legs out. Pull him away. Pull him away. Roll him over. 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 Get him away from the wall. Get him away from the wall. Get him away from the wall. Work as a team. Work as a team. Work as a team. Put him flat on the mat. Arms to the side. Legs together. What do you say? All right, man.
This is something that's going to happen. This is going to be your job, and it's our responsibility to secure that inmate, extract them from the cell. It's important that you know what your role is, whether you're the shield, whether you're securing the hands, securing the feet. You know what your job is, know what your teammates' job is, communicate the way that they instruct you to communicate, and get the job done.
Pull his legs out.
Work with each other.
Work with your team. Get him down, get him down, get him down.
If we didn't have the training we had, you would have no idea what to do. It would be total chaos in there. I was actually really surprised what you're able to accomplish without really talking at all.
Get away from the wall. Get away from the wall. Pull him away from the wall. Get his legs together. Get his legs together. All right.
You know, we had a little pad wall where you could walk around. There's plenty of room, but in those cells, I don't know how those guys do it. I don't. You know, everything's concrete, so whatever you're hitting is hurting. And then you have a grown man fighting you, and then you're fitting, you know, you and 5 guys shoulder to shoulder, stuffing each other in there like sardines, trying to secure an inmate. That's a challenge. That's a challenge.
We found a stinger. It was in a bucket with water, and I picked it up and I didn't know what it was. And they use them to boil water, you know, heat up soup or whatever. I felt good when I found it. It was the first thing we actually found. We were actually looking to find something. I actually found something that they weren't supposed to have.
It was actually enjoyable to actually get a chance to go with the instructors to a facility and go live in a situation where, you know, we had to actually do a search and try to find contraband, try to find items that pose a threat not only to correctional custody staff but also to the civilian staff at the facility and the inmates themselves, whether that be a weapon, whether that be drugs, whether that be anything that they're not allowed to have.
It's just important for the safety of the correctional officers here, the safety of the other inmates. There's a lot of things going on here with a lot of movement. So, like, you know, if let's say one inmate was to have something, they'll be passing along and they can use it to hurt another inmate or hurt our staff or a civilian or the nurse. And that's something that we don't want to happen because we want to go home at the end of the day.
Going to try to take them out. Understood? Alright, and then the whole object here is for the officer to get up and get to the bell over here. The bell is that mitt in the middle of those pairs. Everybody see that? Alright, so once you get out of the altercation, you're going to get up, run to the bell, hit the bell. When you hit the bell, sound. From then, everybody in the circle is to count down. 10, 9, 8, right? Count down to 1 loudly so the person in the circle can hear you.
Make me go to my left. Look, I need to start switching.
Just sitting down.
Put the foot behind. Now, right, yes. Turn your right foot out. Better.
DT, I think that it probably prepared me for the worst case scenario that can happen in prison, and I think in every way possible it helped me, and probably helped most of the people in here who never had any kind of experience with self-defense.
But one of the things that you learn in DT is that in a physical altercation with potentially multiple people, it's going to be one of the most physically intense things that you could possibly do.
I think a lot of people have never had hands put on them ever in their whole lives, so when they come here and we actually started the defensive tactics program, I mean, it was a shock. It was a shock to a lot of people.
Once you get sprayed, you're going to say trainee such and such, code 33 behind building 21. Good?
OC is the worst thing in the world, and I highly recommend no one to try it ever again.
There's someone just dumped a bucket of sand on your eyes, and your face is on fire.
Look at me. Look at me. How many fingers I got up? Open your eyes. I have this. Look at me. Open your eyes. I need you to continue and open your eyes. Open your eyes.
Hernandez, stop rubbing. Hernandez, how many fingers? Two. Here's the keys. Hernandez.
Have you ever taken like food out the oven and you open the oven, it's that gush of just heat?
Open your eyes, sir.
Like, it feels like that, but just like 100 times amplified.
Lover, I need you to open your eyes. 5. Take this keys. Take the keys. Stop. Sorry. Take the keys. Top lock.
Secure your radio. How many fingers I got up? Look at me.
4.
Top lock. Top lock. Look at what you're doing. Open your eyes and look at what you're doing. You can. Open up your eyes and look at what you're doing.
So in spite of the fact that you're in a very uncomfortable situation, having been exposed to the OC, I think the main point is that you have to be able to maintain your composure and execute the baton strikes, execute the handcuffing, execute the strikes on the dummies the way that you would, the way that you were instructed in a professional manner, and not lose your cool, and to let you know that you can be exposed to this and you'll be okay and you'll be able to do your job regardless.
We kind of lucked out because it was like really cold, so it wasn't as bad, but no, it was terrible.
Let's go, platoon leader. Let's go, PL. Open the middle lock. Don't rub your face. Open the middle lock. Middle lock, Perkins. Middle. That you got the lock. Just open it. Oh, God. Key goes in different ways, sir. Figure it out.
It doesn't matter what quality you're in, you still have to accomplish that objective. So it's just one of those things that you got to just suck it up, you know, tough it out, drive on, and do what you have to do.
On your back! Get down on the ground! Face down! Hands behind your back!
We didn't get an opportunity to say anything to the instructors, so I want to take this opportunity on behalf of the entire class to thank every one of these instructors for all the work they did, all the sacrifices they made, and the hard work they put into to mold us and to do the curriculum in a professional way. And I just want to say thank you on behalf of the whole class. Thank you, instructors. Thank you.
For the last time, yes, Smith. Get out of here, go.
We have an opportunity to do a career where we can be very proud of ourselves, serve the community, serve our families, and it's going to be a very proud moment. I'm looking forward to it. I've been working my whole life to become a law enforcement officer, and to finally get here is surreal, so I'm excited.
We all came into this from different walks of life. We were construction workers, office workers, salesmen, students, members of the armed forces, and almost every other job you can imagine. We all have different goals, beliefs, aspirations, and morals. No one person is exactly the same, and there was a lot of growing pains in forcing so many different people to try to work and live together for 17 weeks.
This is the day that we all waited for. You know, it's 15 weeks and then 2 weeks of on-the-job training, and to look back and to realize how far we've come and how much we've just changed in 4 months. It's exciting. It's exciting. I can't wait.
We've worked 14 weeks for this. Nobody can take it away from us. It's definitely a huge accomplishment. Like they said, like the instructor said, I think it's 1% of the United States population is police officers, and it's definitely a blessing to be a part of that.